Cody Kennedy was a major influence for me in my first years at Gainesville High School. Coming to the high school, I was very unprepared for the environment it had. As someone who had been homeschooled until 8th grade, I wasn't used to public school and felt very out of place. However, Kennedy helped me feel more comfortable with it. He fostered my previous interests in history and politics. He always made class engaging and interesting. As the last period of the day, it was always something for me to look forward to. He didn't just read off information or slides, but he made it fun and entertaining. He used to be in the military and usually gave us insight into the locations we discussed, helping to better show what the area really was like, as well as captivating us with those stories he had. Throughout the year, we also participated in a lot of projects. These were some of the best times we had with the class. They ranged from building a country to having some of the world leaders work together in order to stop a zombie apocalypse. I even got to teach for a day. Through Kennedy's class, I would have some of the best experiences of my early high school years. Thanks to him, I was able to be a better person, both through the material he taught and through the great times he gave us.
Brendan, I hope you, your family, and your friends have stayed safe throughout the entire pandemic. I'm sorry that you've had to miss the last part of your senior year, although as a senior, you probably may feel differently for missing so much school. Now, we used to talk about history all the time in class, and now you've been a part of history, all right? You can tell future generations about what it was like to go through a pandemic. It was a very momentous occasion. So there's always that silver lining. Speaking of history, though, it wasn't too long ago an awkward freshman walked into my classroom in a public school, no less, for the first time. But from the get-go, you had a voice, the ability to tell everyone your opinion. Whether it was the surviving a zombie apocalypse during the mock UN game that we had in class, or just sounding off on current topics, or the constant questions that you used to pepper me with, you always had a voice. Continue that voice as you move throughout life. It will serve you well. It was always a joy to hear your opinion in class every day, and it was a true pleasure having you as a student in my class for 2 years. I want to tell you how proud I am of all you have accomplished. Continue to use your voice, and you will always succeed in everything that you do. Again, I'm proud of you. I'm glad to have had you as a student, and good luck in all that you do.
When I first met Mr. Hill, his entire classroom was confined to a single cart. His program wasn't big enough to justify a classroom for the entire day. When Mr. Hill met me, he understood exactly what I wanted to be and what I needed to do to get there. Over the past few years, Mr. Hill has shown me a passion for criminal law and given the opportunities I need to get there. I, however, didn't know what was in store with me when I met Sergeant Hill. I took his course almost entirely out of his insistence, but I soon learned. I think you should look into this concept a little bit more. Just one little quote, usually confined to an email with a link for some further reading or an app with some helpful information, helped me realize my dream. Hill's many stories and experiences throughout his life showed me the exciting reality that is in store for me and encouraged me to take positive change to ensure that I engage with all sides of the aisle, as long as I get off the balcony. Last summer, when I was preparing and discussing my interest in interning for a law office over the summer, Sergeant Hill immediately took action, telling me just to prepare my resume. He talked to the people he knew at the local courthouse and recommended me as an incredibly intelligent and passionate individual. My internship at the Cook County Attorney's Office was one of the most entertaining summers of my life, and I'm truly blessed and thankful to have that opportunity. I want to thank Sergeant Hill again for everything he has done for me. The growth he has promoted in my life is excellent, perhaps even more impressive than his now full, cart-free, and permanent classroom.
Hello, my name is Michael Hill, and I was chosen by Tucker Kraft as his Shining Star teacher. Tucker is a thoughtful, conscientious, and dedicated student, as you would expect from someone at the top of their class. But Tucker did not just excel in academics. He is a state-ranked debater, and his sharp wit has left many of his competitors in the dust. Tucker has also played many leading roles in numerous dramatic productions at school, displaying his creativity. Tucker and I have had numerous discussions on topics ranging from court cases to current events. But in class, Tucker was thoughtful of his fellow students by not letting his debate experience overpower the other students' ability to express their opinions. I look forward in following his academic career and hearing that he has passed the bar in 7 years. Tucker is a well-rounded student who has excelled in high school and will continue to excel in the future. During my professional career, I've received numerous awards and recognition, but this one really touched my heart and brought tears to my eyes. Thank you, Tucker. It's students like you who make it rewarding to be a teacher.
Coach Weaver not only taught me how to be a better person on the competitive field, but also during practice and everyday life. She taught me that it's not as crazy as you think to wake up at 5:15 in the morning and go to run. And if you sleep in, then you're in for a world of hurt the next day at practice. Coach was a shining example of how to be both competitive and humble at all aspects of life. At the very start of the season, my junior year, Coach Weaver instilled the knowledge that by training every day, we are not only improving ourselves, but also those around me. My teammates, who I would be nothing without if not for Coach Weaver. On top of these lessons, Coach Weaver made running, both training and racing, come off as a blessing to me and something not to be taken for granted. Through these constant efforts to make me better, Coach Weaver led me to be able to compete at the state level my junior year, and then both my teammate, Micah Martinez, and I at state our senior year. I owe a lot of success, both on and off the track, to Coach Weaver, and the lesson that hitting the snooze button weighs heavier than many people think.
In August 2018 was the first year I met Cooper Goldsworthy. Being a first-year coach, the question was asked, who are the leaders and who would step up and be a leader? The expression on Cooper's face was priceless. But in that moment, you could tell he took that task on along with other teammates. But he has led our cross-country team, our athletic program, to heights and accomplishments that speaks highly of him. Being a first-year coach, coming in and having a young man just to put out all his effort, work in practice, outside of practice, shows up and motivates everyone around him, speaks highly of him. So Cooper, not only as an athlete, but as a big part of the student body here in Gainesville ISD, just watching him interact with the young men and women in this building is amazing. Receiving this accomplishment is a big honor, but Cooper, there's not enough words to explain this young man, because academically he excels, athletically he excels, socially he excels. So not only is Cooper going to has done great things here in Gainesville ISD, but he's going to do great things in the future.
I knew from the start that I wanted to be a computer scientist, and I know that math is a big part of that profession. I remember when I first met Mr. Bevers, and it was during the morning classes of Algebra 2 with Miss Mitchell, and I can tell you, he looks better with a beard. He has been a very fun guy to be with throughout the years, and his singing during class is phenomenal. One of the things that rubbed off onto me from him was his outside-of-the-box thinking. To me, math is like a puzzle. And some of these problems have one solution, some have many solutions, but all of them have different ways to solve them. This is just like the life of a computer scientist or an engineer. So really, Mr. Bevers has brought me out of the shell of narrow thinking. That outside of the box thinking was what I was missing personally. I needed the exposure and experience of broad thinking at work, because everything nowadays is not simply black and white, but instead is a myriad of colors. Not only did this way of thinking apply to mathematics, but also in my personal life. And so I am very blessed and happy that Mr. Bevers came into my life and guided me to what I always needed. Now I feel like I can face the future and solve any problem the best way possible.
Mr. Brian Tang, thank you so much for picking me as your Shining Star educator. You could have picked anybody else you wanted to pick, but you picked me. I mean, you had the choice between St. Mary's and Gainesville High School. Awesome teachers. I really do appreciate you picking me. You've been my student for the last 2 years. I had you in pre-cal last year, my first year teaching. It was a crazy year. I know it was nuts. I appreciate you in class this year and last year. You're in my AP calculus class this year, and you've been amazing. I mean, I can't tell you how many hours you spent on Khan's Academy during this pandemic trying to get ready for the AP exam. It was amazing. I want to wish you luck at UNT. I know you're gonna do well there. You have you're hardworking, you're intelligent, self-motivated, just the type of person that'll do well in college. You're not going to have any problems, as long as you stay on it. Really what I want to say is I appreciate you, man. It's not going to be the same without you at school. I mean, you've definitely made me a better teacher. You made me a better person, and I can't say enough about you, man. You will definitely be missed.
When going through life, you will occasionally run into something that piques your interest and makes you want to learn more about it. Sometimes the idea completely captivates you, and you develop a strong sense of purpose and desire to seek out said purpose. I knew for a long time that I wanted to do something with computers, but was never quite exactly sure what I wanted to do. I had toyed with the idea of programming and later game design, but they ultimately never struck my fancy. That changed when I found my role model, which his name was Monty and he had been a talented individual who worked on three-dimensional modeling and animation. I decided that I wanted to follow a similar path to Mr. as I not only enjoyed the idea, but knew that it was a viable option. So when I began working with Freeman on 3D printers, I began to think a little bit more about the creation of digital objects. Over time, I decided to go ahead and begin trying to make my own models. Through Freeman, I received positive reinforcement on my work that I didn't receive from a fair amount of people outside the family. This support was helpful when I felt like my work was morally draining, and some were telling me that it was a waste of time. I quickly came to actually enjoy making these 3D models, and found that my patience for them was seemingly infinite. I am now dedicated to this field because of Freeman's reinforcement of my ideas, and will continue to try and make it into my official career.
Congratulations, Sean. What can I say about you? Well, one thing for sure is you don't say much, but when you say something, it's usually very profound and very accurate. One of the things I looked forward to about Sean was him sharing his ideas with me, the things that he created. Very intelligent young man, and did a wonderful job with the things that he created on the computer. And one of the things that I always look forward to, Sean, is your presentations. Very clear, distinct voice, very well organized, just really a really good presentation. I'm super proud of you, young man. Look at it this way. Like I said earlier, you're never going to be in school this long ever again. And you have completed something that is a very honorable thing. You did it the right way. That's one thing that I really am proud of you for. And always worked hard, quality work. He's a very direct person, and he'll tell you what he likes and what he doesn't like. And he won't necessarily tell you that very often, but when it's time to speak, he speaks very well. Was very proud to be honored by you, Sean. Super proud, young man. It made my whole semester when I found out that I was chosen by you, and I thank you for that. So to this, I would say congratulations, and enjoy the next chapter of your life, and make the most of it, because I have no doubt that you will. Good job, young man.
Before I even met Miss Boswell or became a cheerleader, I was an incredibly shy kid. I was kept to myself. I barely had any friends. I was always in a book. Still am. But it wasn't until At the end of my 6th grade year, I decided to try something new, and I got convinced by my friends, and I tried out for cheer. And I can't tell you how much that's changed my life. I made the team, and I just found something that was so much more, something that I wanted to be a part of for pretty much ever at that point. It gives you so much more than anybody else will realize. Throughout middle school and high school, Ms. Boswell was always there for us, not just me. Every single cheerleader she had, she was there for them if they really needed her. But just something about her character always touched me. She isn't just a regular coach or teacher, she's like family. She makes you feel wanted, and she makes you feel like you belong. And she's someone that I've looked up to for the better half of my life. And being a cheerleader these past 7 years has been an absolute blessing. I've got to meet so many new people. I've gotten to do so many different things just because of the attitude that I always had. And I was able to smile, and that used to be really hard. I've completely grown into a different person. And none of that would have been possible without Miss Boswell. She encourages all of her cheerleaders to do better, not just at cheer, but at everything they do. Even just being a person, she's always there to give us advice about what we need. And I can't speak for everyone, but under her guidance, I have completely flourished. And I was able to break out of the shy little kid who wouldn't talk to anybody. Now I can openly talk to people, I can make a speech in a crowd, I can yell for my friends, and I could just be a good person. And honestly, I don't know how I would have survived all of these years, let alone anything else without my boss. So thank you for the best 7 years of my life.
I met Marina 6 years ago. She was a scared, nervous, and shy little girl that was trying out for junior high cheerleader. She made it, and the rest is history. Marina was always my go-to girl. If I had a cheer I needed her to learn, or a dance, or a sign I needed painted, it didn't matter what it was. Her response was always, "I got it, boss," and I didn't worry about it again because I knew it would get done. Marina was always serious and studious. She had goals, and she was working towards those goals. She became the mama of the group. She was the voice of reason, and with all these girls, that was amazing to have around. She has an incredible work ethic, and I know she's going to do amazing things no matter where she lands, where she ends up, maybe even here at GHS as the next librarian/cheer coach.
As I look back at my educational history, I can easily pick out the classes in which I learned the most. Something that all of these teachers have in common is that they got to know me on a personal level and make connections with me. I think that some teachers feel teaching is only a job where they're free to do what they will while in class and don't bring work home with them. This was not the case with my 5th grade teacher, Ms. Jones. The education I received prior to arriving in her class was very methodical, and there wasn't much engagement with the material. I honestly preferred it that way since I kept to myself most of the time. However, she broke me out of that shell that I resided in with the way she taught. She always found or thought up silly dances to help us remember what we learned. Although I was reluctant at first, I eventually joined in on the fun. I specifically remember trying to memorize the preamble, which was quite entertaining. If I recall correctly, she was probably the only teacher that actually played with us outside during recess, instead of just supervising, which I really appreciated. Not only was Ms. Jones interacting with everyone inside the classroom, but she also made several connections with our parents. Several parties were had throughout the year, and my parents went to most of them. They love her and her energy. Ms. Jones really helped me learn how to be outgoing, which has allowed me to get where I am today. The sheer impact she has had on my life and education cannot be confined to this one paper. There is no one more qualified than her to be my educator for this event.
Hey, Harvey, congratulations on graduating. I'm so proud of you. So when I met Harvey, he was a 5th grader 8 long years ago, and I was in my 2nd year of teaching straight out of South Oak Cliff. So I was really excited about my new journey here in Gainesville. And I can say to this day, the students and the families that I met are just some of my most cherished memories, and also like some long-lasting friendships and bonds that I never expected to make throughout my educational career. When I received that call to let me know that Harvey had made it to the top 10%, I wasn't in the least bit surprised. Even as a fifth grader, he excelled academically and had a dedication for understanding information that really set him apart from his peers. But to me, he didn't just stand out for his academic characteristics, it was also for his character as well. His kindness and the respect that he showed others just really made a lasting impact. When thinking about our time together in fifth grade, it's quite interesting. Our personalities are very different, which made for it to be a really fun year. I tend to be outgoing and love to incorporate music and songs into my classroom, and Harvey, not so much. But I'm pretty sure he may have thought I was a little crazy, as most students do. But as we progressed through the year, I really watched him grow and come out of his shell, dance moves and all. And those were some really special moments that I'm so happy and thankful to be a part of. Harvey, without a doubt, is destined for so many great things, and I'm excited to watch him continue to grow and make his way into adulthood. I'm truly humbled to be chosen by such a remarkable young man. So thank you for the honor and congratulations, you did it.
On the first day of my junior year, I walked in to my 7th period and Miss Mitchell said, "Hey, do you want to be a peer tutor for this period?" And my initial thought was, it's Algebra 2. I don't know if I could handle it. But okay. And then, I messed up.
Okay, you want to start over?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the first day of my junior year, I walked into my 7th period and Miss Mitchell said, "Hey, I don't have a peer tutor for this period, but would you like to keep pocket points for us?" And my initial thought was, well, this is Algebra 2. I don't know if I could handle it. Although she did reassure me that if it was too much for me, I didn't have to do it, and it was okay. But that year, I took on the challenge of learning a whole new topic while still being a peer tutor, and eventually being able to help my peers. Miss Mitchell gave me the opportunity that year to show myself that I am capable of more things than I believe, even if they seem intimidating. Although it may not seem as a big deal to others, it truly was for me, because I was truly intimidated in a class with upperclassmen, but I was able to go through with it. Now, every day I walk into my math class, I immediately love it. Additionally, teaching has always been in the back of my head. So being a peer tutor that year actually helped me taking on the decision of choosing that as my minor. And that year, in Miss Mitchell's class, I truly learned that life will hit us with jobs that may intimidate us, but if we set our minds to it and are dedicated, everything will run smoothly.
Hey Maria, thank you so much for picking me as your teacher to go to the gala with you. I'm sorry we're not there together right now. It would have been fun, but other plans, huh? And I hate that your senior year ended like it did this year with the pandemic, but I do know that God has a plan, and I'm pretty sure, really sure, that He's got great things ahead in store for you. Maria, you were such a pleasure to have in class. I so enjoyed having you in my class. I enjoyed just getting to know you as a person, as a student, and I also want to thank you for really stepping up to the plate that year. You really did a great job at stepping up for peer coach. There was no peer coaches available that hour, so I had to just kind of count on you guys to help each other, but you not only stepped up to the plate to help each other, you were also a complete peer coach, as well as being with one of the top students in the class. So for that, I thank you, and it made me realize just what a special person you really are. The gifts that you have gotten, I know it's going to take you so far in the future. Maria, I know that great things are in store for you. I'm so excited to see what's in your future, and I just hope that you use all that you've been through this year to make you stronger and to focus on the positive and things to come. And I want you to know that I'm only one phone call away. I will always be here if you ever need me, and I love you, love you, love you, and I just thank you for the person that you are. Mwah.
I first had Mr. Glover as a teacher when I was a sophomore taking English 2. I'm not gonna lie, I was originally a little scared of taking his class. Like every student in my grade, I had heard various rumors from the members of the class of 2019 about how hard his course was. However, from my very first day in class, I knew that the hard work would pay off. Although the classwork was challenging, the difficulty of these assignments allowed me to improve both my writing abilities and my study habits. For the first time in a long time, I began to actually enjoy listening to the teacher. Mr. Glover wouldn't ever refuse to lecture about topics that we were interested in. In fact, every question that we could think of would be thoroughly answered by the time that class was over. Mr. Glover encouraged us to think critically and analyze various topics instead of just mindlessly writing everything down. Even after I no longer had Mr. Glover as my English 2 teacher, his influence as a UIL coach and NHS sponsor helped shape my life. He was the person who first introduced me to journalism, a field that I now wish to pursue professionally. Mr. Glover encouraged me to learn more about every interest that I had, no matter how niche it may be. Without his guidance, I would be absolutely lost right now in deciding what path I wanted to take in life. Looking back, I'm extremely grateful that I decided to take his class. Doing so helped shape me into the person I am today. Thank you.
What breeds evil? Is it society or the natural tendency that humanity seems to be predisposed to? Tough question. It's also the first thing you ever wrote me. 4 years ago, I met an amazing young lady who was hiding in the corner of her dual credit class watching anime. 4 years later, I've gotten to see her lead her peers in band, journalism, NHS, and has become one of the best writers that I've ever had the privilege to teach, while still sitting in the corner watching anime. Taryn, it's been wonderful getting to watch you grow as a leader, as a writer, and as a person throughout these 4 years. As you continue fulfilling your college dreams, I know that wherever you go and whatever you're going to do, you're going to be brilliant at it. I truly look forward to seeing where your next steps of your journey are going to take you, and just remember to keep writing, keep pushing, and keep asking the tough questions, even when you don't have to.
$1,720 hours and then some. 3.5 hours a week, 3 times a week for almost 4 years now. And that's not even counting the late night work calls in the auditorium or class time or contest rehearsals or even competition. The people we associate with in life affect us in many aspects. One prominent individual that has had an everlasting effect on my life is my director and teacher, Morgan Sims. A good teacher can teach you something that you will remember for a day, but a great teacher will teach you something that you will remember for the rest of your life. In the 1,720 hours, Ms. Sims has taught me the importance of trust, hard work, and safety goggles. All are values that have shaped my life and strengthened my foundation for the future. Ms. Sims is an exceptional role model and taught me to never lose sight of who I am as an individual. Trust is never a one-way street. Ms. Sims takes the time to intimately know her students, eager to offer advice or even a shoulder to cry on. She's taught me what it means to be comfortable in my own skin. I don't think I'd be the person that I am today without her help. Thank you for sharing your life with me, for putting up with my weird questions, for allowing me to stay late at the auditorium, and for trusting me and showing me that a family can be found anywhere.
Hi, Jake. Thank you so much for choosing me as your Shining Star teacher this year. It is such an honor to represent you and be part of your life over the last 4 years. It has been an amazing journey together. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching you grow, not just as an actress or as an artist, but as a person. I'm so proud of everything that you've done during our time together, and I'm so excited to see all of the things that you're going to accomplish in your future. I'm so proud of the work that we've done together, the growth of the program, and it's all because of the work that you've put in over the last 4 years. You've really left a legacy and something for the rest of the kids behind you to look up to. Again, it has been an amazing journey together, and I can't wait to see your work out there and watch your animation on TV and see all of the amazing things you're going to accomplish. You're a cool kid, and I love you so much, and I can't wait to see what your future holds.
Mr. Rutherford has done so much for me, and if I were to list all the things in detail, I would most definitely go over the word limit for this short essay. Mr. Rutherford always saw what I was capable of and held me to a standard so high that I thought he hated me because of how hard I was pushed. Some of the first words Mr. R ever said to me were, "You're the type of kid I want in my program." Now part of me thinks that was sweet talk to make sure I didn't quit again, but I'm pretty sure he meant it. As you may or may not know, I quit band after my 8th grade year because of the director change. The previous director had told me so much about his plans for me in his high school program, then he left, and I felt betrayed and was too stubborn to listen to some guy from Salina with a few accolades. I find it crazy that Mr. R is the reason I quit band, and now he's the sole reason I hold it so close to my heart. And for everything he's done for me as a musician, I'm beyond grateful to have been taught by such a fantastic director. On top of that, Mr. R has taught me how to be a leader and a good person. A quote that will always stick with me is, "I want to create good musicians, but I want to create great young men and women." Getting to be drum major and president for Mr. R was such an amazing thing, and I will cherish it forever. But I think I will mostly cherish getting to be his student.
I remember the first time I met Mason was when he came to my office to introduce himself and to ask for readmission into the band program. He had not been in during the previous year, and I had no idea at that point, of course, how integral and how important of a member that he was going to be in the band program. The three things that stick out mostly about Mason is, first of all, he's so motivated. If Mason sets his mind to something, it's going to happen. He'll figure out what he has to do, the steps he has to take to make that happen, and we'll follow through with them. The second thing is his compassion. Mason truly loves and cares about people, and especially those who he sees as struggling. And if he has a skill set to help, he is going to help that person. The other thing that really stands out is integrity. I've seen Mason in situations where he had the choice to do the easy thing, do the right thing, and the things that I have seen him do have been to choose to do the right thing. And those three things are going to take him far, and are going to make a young man into an outstanding man that will impact his society, impact his world. And I'm excited to have been a part of that. I'm proud of you, Mason, and I look forward to what you're going to do and to seeing what you become. Stick with what you are, and don't let that world out there change those things. I'm proud of you, and thank you for selecting me for this wonderful honor.
This year was my first year here at Gainesville School District. Even though I am no stranger to changing schools, it was still hard to start senior year without any friends or people that I knew. Ms. Dollar made that easier though. She was nice, and I thought we were a lot alike. Throughout the school year, I have really enjoyed her class, and though I haven't known her that long, she is one of my favorite teachers I've had. She treats us like adults, but holds us accountable to our actions. Her classwork isn't too hard, but it challenges us to step outside of our comfort zones. My year definitely would not have been the same without Miss Dollar. Out of all my English teachers I've had, I'm glad to have had her my senior year. Thank you for being one of my favorite teachers I've ever had. You've helped me mature and grow this year.
So Brooklyn, this was her first year here at GHS, and obviously that can't be easy, coming to a new school your senior year. But the minute I met Brooklyn, I knew she was going to be a girl after my own heart. She's obviously smart. I mean, that's why she's here. We know this. But she's also really funny and really kind and friendly. She, for being in a new school, she just had this way of diving in and getting along with everybody around her, people who are different from her. She, just really feels comfortable around a lot of people, which I think is an amazing thing to be able to do. And she got involved in theater this year for the first time, and I know that was a big experience for her. But yes, I mean, she and I really share a love of letters, of writing and reading, and I know she's gonna go on and do great things when she goes to UNT and hopefully continues her education even beyond that. So Brooklyn, I wish you all the best, and I believe in you. I'm excited for your future. Bye.
2 years ago, I left behind the only school I had ever known. It was one of the hardest decisions I had ever had to make, leaving behind everything I knew and grew up with when it began to hold me back as I got older. I was told by my old friends that if I left, I was selfish and ridiculous. I believed it, and it took me 2 years to make a firm decision.
One of the people who made me believe in myself again and make a decision was Mrs. Straight. My mom knew Miss Straight before I transferred, so I was able to gain some insight into unfamiliar territory. She would always invite me to school events or tours during school days to give me the chance to explore and meet more people and teachers. I remember the feeling of walking down a new hallway and the excitement as Mrs. Straight was telling me about everything they could offer me. She was extremely helpful and honest, and I'm still excited about everything I'm able to do here because of her. If it wasn't for the immense kindness that Miss Straight showed me, I never would have transferred. Without her pushing me to succeed, I wouldn't have taken this opportunity. She helped me feel included into a school I wasn't even a part of yet, and she always took time out of her day to make me feel important and give me campus tours. Even to this day, she always shows me kindness when she sees me. Her sincerity and trust in me to do my very best pushes me to make her proud. I couldn't be more appreciative of everything she has helped me to achieve, and I'll always remember her as somebody who believed in me when I couldn't.
Lauren, I want you to know that I am truly honored that you have chosen me as your distinguished educator, and that it has been a joy to have you as a student at Gainesville High School. From the first time I met you on your first tour of the school, I knew that you would be a perfect fit for our Leopard family, and you have proven me right with every step. Every time I see you in the hall, you always have such a big smile on your face, and you look like you were so happy to be here. You came in, you made a great group of friends, you joined a wonderful theater troupe, and you have been a very active member of our student body. Your dedication to your schoolwork is outstanding. Not only are you graduating with a high school diploma, but with your associate's degree from North Central Texas College. Your determination to be the best at whatever you set out to accomplish, and your ability to adapt to new situations are amazing qualities. As a TCU alumni, I know that these are traits that will contribute greatly to your success in college. Go Frogs!
I have been attending Gainesville High School now for 4 years, which sounds like a lot, but really has gone by really fast. I was a new kid entering the school and did not know a lot of people, which made things pretty hard. I began to make friends and have a better feel for the school. I did not know many of the opportunities that were offered, and when I did find out, I was too nervous to speak up. Miss Rich helped me fulfill those classes, and I wanted to be a part of and learn about. As school kept going, she would ask how everything was going and if I liked my classes. It was nice to know that she was there to be able to help make sure that I was happy in classes I was a part of. Ms. Rich has always been there to help me whenever I needed it, which is something I am glad have had. I had many different ideas about what I wanted to do in school and even in my future. I would tell Ms. Rich about these ideas, and she would back me up on them and tell me that if that's what I wanted to do, then I should do it. She was very supportive about these decisions I made and helped me fulfill them, which many kids don't have the type of counselors Ms. Rich is. She has made my high school education exciting and interesting due to the different opportunities I was able to be a part of.
First, I just want to say thank you for choosing me. It's an honor to have been chosen by somebody that I've known and kept up with for so many years. Since I worked with your mom while you were in elementary school, I've always heard stories of how proud she was of her boy. And now I have the privilege of watching you grow into a young man who's ready to take on the world. The best part about being your counselor over the past 4 years has been watching you grow from the quiet, shy freshman that once walked our hallways to the confident senior that we now see laughing, talking, and smiling, and never afraid to say hello. As part of our baseball team, bass fishing team, welding program, talent search, top 10%, you have definitely made GHS proud over the past 4 years. You are the type of person that I hope my own sons grow up to be. I want to encourage you to always do your best, stay confident, strive for greatness, and have the time of your life at UNT.
Growing up, I was always the shy kid in class. When it came to my 7th grade year of middle school, I sat in math class thinking I would have the same outlook of the class, though what I found was just the opposite. One of the first day of my 7th grade year, Coach Fate introduced herself to the classroom. As soon as she started talking, you could tell how passionate she was about her job. As the year progressed, she was able to connect with every student. When it came to her teaching, she always made it fun. Even if you found yourself struggling with anything she was teaching, she was always there for you. Going to her class was always my favorite part of the day because she knew that she was probably going to tell some jokes she would say, or some planned out fun lesson she would teach. Don't even get me started on her obsession with Justin Timberlake. At least to say, I was able to open up to her and to connect to her through her class. She was one of those teachers that believed in me, even when I found it hard to keep going. Though soon enough, 7th grade year was over and it came to 8th grade year. Even though I wasn't in her class, I always found myself visiting her room. Though that was the year I found out she was no longer be teaching in the middle school. I was heartbroken to find out one of my favorite teachers would no longer be in the same district. I will always remember the last day of 8th grade year when she wrote, "It's been a blessing to leave you in my life the past 2 years. Keep working hard, love. You're going to do amazing things. With love, Coach Fade."
Hey Dorcas, I hope this finds you well. I'm so sad that we weren't able to do this in person, but we'll just do it this way. So Dorcas, you're one of the people that when I look back at school and teaching, I always remember just how kind and passionate you are and how hardworking you were. You work so hard in your current accomplishments. Tell me that hasn't changed. You have a smile that just lights up a room, and you always take care in everything that you did. I just want to give you a few things that I really wish someone had said to me when I graduated high school. So here we go. Hardship, it helps you learn who you are. And it's okay. You'll get through it. Seeking help is a skill. Learn to master it. Learn what's important to who you are and stay true to that. Don't ever change for anyone else. Friends are going to come and go, and that doesn't mean that it has to be weird when you run into them out in public. Dreams are going to change, and that's okay, but always have one and always move towards it. I'm so proud of you and all of the things you've accomplished so far, and I can't wait to hear about all of the amazing things that you'll do in the future. So proud of you, Dorcas, and congratulations on graduating.
When Miss Strait asked me which teacher impacted me the most, it was a no-brainer who'd I choose. I chose Mr. Pringle, and no, Mr. Pringle has no affiliation with the chip company, but he is my teacher. In Mr. Pringle's class, we learned a lot about assets and liabilities. In my life and many others, it's safe to say that Mr. Pringle is a perfect example of an asset. The average person will work 45 years of their lives, 40 hours a week, which amounts to over 93,000 hours of our life working. When you include every other factor in our life, we spend the majority of our time at the place we work. You're probably wondering, what does this have to do with Mr. Pringle? Well, one of Mr. Pringle's biggest lessons I've learned is to simply go into a career and job that you'll love and be happy at, which will also help support your lifestyle. Since we spend most of our entire life in younger years working, we should, I'm gonna restart that sentence. Since we spend our entire life in younger years working, we should make sure that we're happy during that time period. Mr. Pringle didn't just teach me to go into a career that I'd be happy at, but he showed that to all of his students. That's why Mr. Pringle had the biggest impact on my life. I had Mr. Pringle in my junior and senior years. Both of those years are when you have to start to figure out your career. He helped me with that, and if it wasn't for him, I might be going to a career that I wouldn't be happy at. He helps the students become self-aware and what careers fit them best. That's why Mr. Pringle is an asset not just in students' lives, but at Gainesville High School.
Briston, it's been a lot of fun having you in class these last 2 years. I've really enjoyed just being able to get to know you and share stories with you and talk about all kind of random things. You're the only 17-year-old I've ever known that's wanted to talk about stocks and bonds. But look at you now. You know, you're about to graduate high school and move on to the next phase in your life. I know there's going to be a lot of great things in store for you. Look forward to maybe one day you come back and maybe being a guest speaker in one of my classes. Look me up one day when you're big and famous. Pringle out.
As student athletes, coaches make up a pretty big part of our careers. Not only do they coach us, but they teach us several life lessons: leadership, teamwork, and accountability. These lessons stay with us for life, and that's why I chose Coach Wilk as my distinguished educator. The instant I met Coach Wilk, I thought to myself, man, he looks pretty scary, and was honestly terrified of what the workouts would look like when powerlifting season came along. But when the season started, all those feelings started to leave. He started to push and believe in me like no other coach had done. Not only did he want me to succeed on the platform, but in life as well. Even if the weight on the bar was more than I was used to, he always encouraged me to put everything I had into it. I can't even keep count of how many times I would say, "I can't do it," or yell, "Are you trying to kill me?" But there was never a powerlifting meet or a practice where Coach Wilk didn't say, "Don't tell me what you can't do, just do it." It's his absolute favorite line to say, not even kidding. But that's simply the lesson I will carry with me forever, that same exact quote. But through these past 2 seasons, I want to end this speech with an immense thank you, Coach Wilk. Thank you for teaching me more than just powerlifting, for always believing in me, for pushing me beyond my limits, for giving me advice, but honestly, for just being a father figure to me. I simply just want to thank him for everything. I truly give Coach Wilk full credit for making a great impact in my life, not only as a coach, but as always, my powerlifting dad.
And so I still remember one of the first times that I met you. We're in the weight room, we're working on squats. I can't remember, it was like 315, you did it like 2 or 3 times. And I was like, man, that is awesome. I was like, if you keep this up, we're gonna medal at regionals and we're gonna go to state and get a medal. And you're one of the strongest girls in the state. You can squat 400 pounds and bench press 200 pounds. And about that time you looked at me and you went, no. And then I'm pretty sure you were thinking in your head, this dude's crazy. You put all that hard work in and that dedication, and that was amazing to watch. There's a lot of kids that talk about all these things they want to achieve and all these things they want to do, and you're one of those kids that goes out there and does it. Thank you very much for choosing me to be an influential educator in this journey. I know so many teachers have had an impact on you, and it is a true honor that you chose me. I look forward to putting a tie on and showing you that I'm not always wearing a t-shirt, hat with sunglasses and, Nike shorts. But I truly am honored. You were invaluable to me, and thank you for allowing me to be on this journey with you. Like I told you 2 years ago, the sky is the limit, and I can't wait to see where you go.
Throughout my educational career, I have met and spoken to multiple people that have taught me many things. However, the one person that sticks out the most has been Coach Davis. I first met Coach Davis in 7th grade when I decided to be on the UI listening team. I remember sitting with him in his classroom as he tried to figure out how to coach that event. After some time, I attended my first UIL meet and I placed him first. I believe this is where I first learned that if you put in work and determination, you will see results. I want to thank Coach Davis for teaching me these morals early on in life. I use this mentality all throughout middle school and high school, which has led me here today. Davis is also my tennis coach. He made the sport more enjoyable, and I believe that he has led me to become a better player than when I first started. I just want to thank Coach Davis for making me better in regard to both academics and sports. I want to thank him for making me laugh even when I was feeling upset or mad. I want to thank him for being a great person, not only to myself, but to all the students and faculty that he interacts with.
First off, Amy, I want to say thank you for picking me for the Shining Stars Gala. But I also want to follow that up with saying how sad I am that we couldn't actually commemorate this moment the way that it was expected. But then on the other hand, I do want you to know that you are finishing high school exactly as I expected, in the top 10% of your class with an overall 92 GPA. And it's funny because looking back, not even talking about the ending here, but just go back to the beginning for a second when we first met. You were in 7th grade, and you and I were worried about UIL listening skills together, which is funny because both of us have a hard time listening. Like we both know that. But you take that little moment in that little classroom and you fast forward all these years, and not only are you top 10%, but you're making academic all-state for tennis. You're putting in all these extra hours for NHS. And it's amazing to see the young woman that you've become and you're going to continue to become. I'm very proud of you, and your leadership, your attitude, your hard work, and your character are going to carry you on as you head off to North Texas. And I'm going to be proud to call you a fellow alumni. Go Mean Green. I'm going to miss you, Amy. Congratulations.